Adventures. I'm your host, Shaylock.
I'm Ruby.
And this week we have two guest hosts with us. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I'm Rosella.
And I'm Flame.
And together we are journeying through the Pokemon series. And this started with me and Ruby going through Red and Blue video games, but we decided to venture off into manga and anime as well, which I've been really enjoying because the anime can be really dumb sometimes, whatever, but it's still fun. And the manga is fantastic. I really love the stories there.
Oh yeah, the manga is so cool.
And so hopefully you guys are enjoying these too, because we have this big gap between games as we go through the 4 volumes that star Yellow in the manga, and we're journeying through the Orange Islands, which have no basis in the video games, but may have helped inspire a future video game in the series. And this is our second episode on the Orange Islands. So this week we'll be completing the 4th volume of the manga, which is about 6 chapters after that, I think. And we'll be doing the episodes of the Orange Islands: Fit to be Tied, Pikachu Revolts, The Crystal Onix, In the Pink, and Shell Shock. But there will be an extra special episode that we skipped forever ago. You may have noticed, may have bothered me about it already. But we will finally cover it right before In the Pink, because I think there might be an interesting connection there. Alright, so let us start off with, how's everybody doing?
Good. With
Good.
what?
Just in general, like how's life been going?
Pretty good.
How have your Pokemon journeys been going in different areas? The Pokemon Go or other video games?
Well, on Halloween, we got Pokemon cards, and I got a card of Mewtwo.
Well, that's exciting.
Same.
I know Ruby and I have not made any progress for a long time in Scarlet and Violet, which is fine. We need to really push some of the other kids to get further on. I know some people have been playing a lot more Arceus, which is cool. Vivi, for one, I know has been. But then Rosella and I, we thought we had wrapped up the main plot, I guess, of Sword and Shield. And then we went and did a couple little extra things to get, like, Charmander and stuff. But then, like, we didn't play for a while, and, well, you kept telling me we need to go back into the woods, which I forgot about.
Well, you said it first.
Oh, did I?
You're like, we should go back into the woods because that's the first thing we saw before we were in our bedroom. And then I'm like, I remembered that, and you...
Yeah, I was off exploring the wild area involving my Charmander into Charizard.
I only have a Charmeleon.
Well, I only recently got the Charizard when we went back into the woods, I think. Well, and then, well, not just the woods. We started doing other things. Because what did we find back in the woods?
Swordward and Shieldbert.
A couple of weirdos.
Who stole the rusted sword and shield.
And they only stole, well, they stole both, but then we battled them right away and we got one back.
You got the rusted shield back, I got the rusted sword.
Because you battled Swordward and I battled Shieldbert, right? Yeah.
Which games are you each playing?
Shield for me and Sword for her.
So you fought each other's?
No, I fought the Shield guy, Shieldbert, because I'm playing Shield, and so I got the Shield back. She fought Swordward and Sword, and got the Sword back. Well, now we're trying to get the other one back, and they're causing all kinds of weird things.
Because Hop failed to defeat him.
Yes. Yeah, Hop fails. That loser. So, just kidding. So, yeah, what did we have to do so far to be able to start getting this figured out?
We had to go to, Sonia, we had to go to her lab, and she gave us this tracking thing on our phones, and so we had to go to each, so far we've had to go to, all the gyms and fight Dynamax Pokemon, because Swordward and Shieldbert are forcing them to Dynamax.
Yeah, it's been interesting because all the gyms, we're just returning to them, but we're fighting Pokemon that would be the types that you would fight in those gyms, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But what's weird is it's much more like the raid battles in the wild area, so like it's basically our main character, Hop, the dark type gym leader, I forget what his name is.
And then
Marnie's brother, and then whoever the gym leader is.
Yeah.
So it's still a 4-person raid, just like you would have in the wild area. And it's just, so it's kind of interesting. I don't know where this block goes or how it all works out, but it's we apparently had a lot more game in store for us than we had realized. So it's been a lot of fun. Then with Pokemon Go, been playing plenty of that, and there was recently like a whole fairy thing, so I caught some of that stuff going on, finished some of those quests, but then we're now in like a fighting type thing, and they released a new Paldean evolution, which I only learned about sort of recently because I haven't found those in the actual Scarlet and Violet game, but I did learn about it from the Pokemon cards. First, is how I actually first came across it. I'm like, oh, what's this? Because I wasn't even sure it was Scarlet and Violet. It could have been any generation.
Is it the evolve from Primate?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The Annihilate. And it's really kind of fun to try to get. I already got one. There are little cheats that you could do to get around it, and I did not take the easiest cheat route. I kind of cheated, but not really.
Cheated how?
Well, to evolve Primeape into Annihilate in Pokemon Go, he has to be your buddy with, you have to have fed him so he's out, right? And then he has to be in your party when you defeat Psychic and Ghost type. Oh, and or Ghost type. 30 of them. Pokemon. So, you could go into the Pokemon Go battles and hopefully run into them while you have Primeape in your team. Doing it that way. So, easier to do is maybe go to gyms that might have some in there, make sure he's part of your team. Or, what was more convenient for me is Team Go Rocket shows up, and if they have a group of Ghost or Psychic type, then I can at least get 3, right? And that's what I did at first. I had him in my party, defeated a Team Go guy that had Psychic, I think, I don't remember, and beat them all. And it's funny because Psychic and Ghost are not a good place for fighting type Pokemon. Because fighting type moves and normal type moves don't touch Ghost. Granted, Ghost moves don't usually touch normal type either, so, and then Psychic are strong against fighting type. So, not a good place. But this also then evolves Primeape into Annihilate, which is a ghost fighting type, which is just cool. So then, I did the one battle, but then later on I'm like, oh, what I should be doing is engage with the Team Go Rocket guy that has Ghost or Psychic type, and I think I ran into a Ghost one, and just beat the first 2 Pokemon over and over again.
That's not cheating.
No, it's slightly cheating, I would say, but it's not really cheating, no. So I just beat them over, retreat, beat them, retreat, beat them. And I was doing this while I was having conversations with people and stuff, and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of getting bored. And so I'll just stop for now and finish up some other time and run into some more. But when I got done, I had done 29 out of 30. I was so close. I just needed to do one more, and I would have been there. However, in the time it took me to do all this, because Team Go Rocket is appearing a little more often, I finished that one. There was already a new balloon. So I fought that one. But I went to go fight them, and they're like, well, we have flying type Pokemon with whatever their clue was. And I'm like, well, I'll put Primeape in my party just in case, because there are flying psychic types. And sure enough, the very first Pokemon to pop out was a Natu, which is a psychic flying type. So I got my 30th one, and I was able to get my Annihilate.
That was funny.
It was pretty fun. So, yeah, I'm excited about that, because I think Annihilate is just cool looking.
What's the big way to cheat?
Well, the big way to cheat is just, if you have a friend that you're near, have them do battles with them. And just have them pick Ghost Psychic Pokemon and just plow through them over and over and over again. That's the cheat way, because then they don't even have to fight back. They just sit there and die.
Just pick out your, all the CPs are 10s or something.
Exactly, where it's just... And, even... obviously, some of the people I was doing in the Go battles, because one of the quests was to do 5 Go battles and 10 Go battles without winning even. You just had a battle. And obviously some people were only in the Go battle for that reason, because they kept throwing out these weak Pokemon that I just plowed through. And I did get some of my... I got maybe 2 more points from those before I did the trick with the Team Go Rocket. But it's fun. I do need to try to do another one, because I want another Annihilate to probably send home. Oh, that's right. There was also, sort of recently, at the beginning of the month, there was a community day for Rowlet, which is one of my favorite starters, just based off of what I've seen of him. I've not done much with Rowlet I've never played Sun and Moon, which is where he comes from. I do play Arceus, and he is the one I picked in Arceus, which he has a different Final Evolution look to him in that one, because they all do in Arceus.
Well, you probably will get a chance to play Rowlet at some point soon. Well, not soon, but...
Well, yeah, once we get to Sun and Moon, I'll definitely take Rowlet, because you'll take the little seal starter one.
Oh, he's a cute little guy.
Yeah.
He evolves into Pop Leo?
Yeah. The final form is like a ballerina almost looking thing.
Yeah, Pop Leo is...
Is the second one? I have no idea. I just know
one of them's called Pop Leo.
Rowlet becomes like Dartrix or Trix or something, and then it's Decidueye. And I definitely got some shiny ones too. And right now I've been having the shiny Decidueye I have now as my buddy, because I really like the look of the shiny color scheme for the Decidueye.
I like Decidueye because it almost looks like an explorer.
Yeah.
With its hat sort of thing.
Yeah, with its wings it's wings, but they look like a cloak. Yeah, he's cool, and his final, because he's a grass flying type, right? And which is kind of cool because grass is usually weak to flying. So he's grass flying, but his final evolution is grass ghost. And I like the ghost stuff, right? I like these kind of stuff. But we talked about this before, Ruby, that the main evolution I want right now for an Eevee is a ghost type.
Just use the evolution stone called a brick.
Right. But I think it would be so cool to have like a wispy-ish factor to the ghost type. Like its tail was more not like a solid tail, but like just have like a very wispy looking ghost-like tail, not like necessarily solid or whatever, more ethereal and stuff, and just have some of that along with its like more feline look or something, or more of a purplish-ish kind of scheme color, black and purple. I don't know. I would love a ghost type Eevee.
And like skinnier legs or whatever, and taller, like most of them are.
Yeah. Sorry, what was that, Rosa?
I'm just really cool in my
Right? You're really good at picturing things. All right.
Score Bunny.
What about Score Bunny?
He's right here.
Yes, we have a Score Bunny also hosting this podcast. I forgot to mention. Sorry. Score. We've also we've watched through the Path to the Peak little mini episodes that were like 4 parts or whatever for Pokemon, which has been fun. That was fun watching the card game and stuff. And then we've also watched the first episode. Recently, they have the second episode now, but we watched the first episode of the Paldean Winds series.
I don't really like it because it's all choppy.
But you only saw the one, and the second one might be a very different storytelling style.
Maybe. Doesn't mean you guys won't like the first one.
You watched it?
It was the one where she had a flute that she threw off a cliff, and then she got back.
Oh, yeah. I like that one.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it was fun. It was all out of order.
I was so confused, and then I was disappointed that I missed some parts because I didn't know that was still a part.
Well, now that you do know it, you can maybe watch it again and understand it better.
Yeah, maybe if I watch it again, I'll like it.
But yeah, I'll be interested to see what the second one's like. And I've heard that coming in December, it looks like the Pokemon Horizons anime finally was coming to being released with the dub.
Pokemon Horizon, is that like the next season?
It's the next series because they finally wrapped up Ash's journey.
What?
Oh yeah, you told me that.
Yeah.
No!
We're not anywhere close to Ash's journey finishing, but they have wrapped up Ash's journey.
Oh, we're really close to finishing it.
We're on the Orange Islands.
I like Ash. Don't leave Ash.
I think it's for the best because Ash has been going strong for 20-some years probably. Let's see. Yeah. And is still 10 years old, which makes no sense. So, it'd be good to start fresh.
Yeah.
And this new series looks cool.
Ash has been going strong for 20 years, but he's only been for 10 years?
No, he's still 10 years old.
They've been making Ash's episodes for 20 years, but he's still 10 years old.
And everything he's accomplished in those episodes would definitely have taken over a year, if not more, and he's still 10 years old.
How is he still 10 years old?
Exactly.
It's
cartoon.
fine.
Cartoon logic. Well, you've watched Phineas and Ferb. How long is their summer vacation?
Oh, so long.
Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah, but what do you mean how long is it?
Oh, their summer vacation is...
It's 30 million years.
Every episode's still during the same summer vacation. And there's seasons of the show.
Oh.
I want to watch more Phineas and Ferb now.
Yeah, it's a fun show. Anyway, back to Pokemon. Let's go ahead and start diving into the manga. So, we left off with Red finally showing back up. And Pikachu came over, but then it turned out he wasn't Red. And he eventually takes off his costume and stuff, too. And it turns out he's a super nerd. He doesn't like the term. And, before he does that, Erica goes up to him and he punches her in the stomach and she collapses.
Oh no, I got punched
and now he
in
has
the stomach.
Erica's head under his foot. And Yellow goes to, he's not going to stop. Yellow's oh no, I'm not letting you get away with this. But Super Nerd isn't threatened by Yellow as Pika's trainer, and sends out Persian and Paris to attack. Pushing Yellow back and stun-sporing him, Super Nerd gleefully flees with Pika. But of course, Yellow is not okay with that, and climbs onto Dodua.
Are you sure? He's probably just fine.
Yeah, no, Yellow's not okay. So he climbs on his Dodua, like he likes to ride, with Rattata, and gives chase. but Yellow left behind the sketchbook, which Erica finds that has a drawing of Ratty, and it says it's his first Pokemon, Doduo, his second Pokemon, and Pika. Yellow calls the Pokemon...
I thought he nicknamed his Dodua Dodo.
I think it's Dodie or Dottie or something.
Dottie, yeah.
And Rattata's Ratty, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Yellow also mentions in the book that they're his friends. Like, he calls them friends, and hopes that Pika will want to be a friend too. And they all have notes by them as well, and it's kind of like a Pokedex, but a handwritten one, which is just kind of cool.
Yeah. Sort of like in, what's it called?
Pokemon Legends Arceus or Arceus.
Arceus.
Yeah. You have a handwritten Pokedex.
Yep. And old-fashioned Pokeballs.
And you're filling the Pokedex out.
Yes.
Well, technically, your Ash is supposed to be filling Professor Oak's Pokedex. But...
He's too focused on battling.
Ash or Red? Who are we
Both.
talking about? Okay. Meanwhile, Super Nerd is being rough with Pikachu and talks about how he'll deliver Pika to an old woman, and we get a glimpse that he is talking about Elite Four member Agatha, who we saw at the beginning of the volume when she found the badge plate hidden in the rubble of the Sylph Company building. You know what I'm talking about, the badge plate?
Yeah.
That created that creepy bird.
Yeah, the triple legendary. Alright, so
Ultra
then
legendary.
Super Nerd is fighting Dirty, and Yellow is having a hard time. Erica decides to get a message to one who has walked the dark path but is now good, Blaine. Because he was the scientist working on Mewtwo originally, but then betrayed them.
Oh, yeah, but we just made him as a good guy and find out about his past,
Well,
right?
you technically see him in an earlier chapter when Red and Green are dealing with the Team Rocket headquarters in Celadon City. He's there at that point with when they're talking about the Gyarados or something. Maybe you see him with the Gyarados. I can't remember. But anyway, you do see him at some point earlier.
Oh,
Whether they're talking about, like, I don't remember if it was at that time or if they were talking about something that happened earlier. But you do see him near the...
Oh, okay. Well,
But when we
He's
really
pretty
get
good.
to meet him, yeah, he's good.
Doesn't she contact Misty and Bra, too?
Let me see here. Let's see.
that's because they're part of Blade, Misty, and Rocker are part of this sub.
She might. I don't remember if she does that yet. But anyway, is that still the same chapter?
Following the path blazed by Misty and Brock and myself. Yes.
Oh, she's still talking about Blaine.
Okay.
Talking about him following the path that they've blazed forward, because they were the first three good gym leaders.
And then Blaine.
And then Blaine joined their side, basically.
Yes, half the gyms are good.
Yes.
I'm only getting 4 badges for the A4.
So then when she says that, we cut to Blaine studying the relationship to Pokemon from Viridian Forest and their trainers. And he discovers info that suggests Pikachu was probably found in Viridian Forest. So Pikachu is a Pokemon from Viridian Forest, and the Pokemon from Viridian Forest and the trainers from that area have a special connection. Then the phone rings, and we find that his phone looks like a Rapidash, which is interesting.
I like it.
Well, that's because
Of
he
course you
likes
do.
Raptor.
I want that phone.
I'm sure you do. Oh, and Mewtwo is being held in a tank there with a do not disturb sign.
A very funny do not disturb sign.
A
Yeah.
very funny do not disturb sign.
It's just like,
It's like, I'm taking a nap, guys.
And so then, yeah, that phone call kind of ends that chapter, and so then we jump into chapter 48, Paris Sight. Do you guys get the pun there?
sort of.
Have you ever heard of the word parasite?
Mm-hmm.
And this is Paris, as in the Pokemon, and sight, as in seeing, instead of being a parasite.
But first Pikachu tries to zap Super Nerd, but it doesn't work because of his...
That's part of this chapter. Sometimes the scenes right before the chapter title are part of the same chapter.
Yeah, I'm always confused. So
Yeah.
when I get there and you told me not to read the next chapter, I'm like, I'm just not gonna even look at that just in case. I mean, I'm not sure if it's finishing up. or
Yeah,
not.
it's hard to be sure where exactly the ends and beginnings are for all of these, but this
So-
is fine.
If you see the chapter on the next page, just don't read it with
Yeah.
the page.
Usually you can get kind of an idea where it probably is at. But anyway, so back to the battle between Super Nerd and Yellow. All of Super's Pokemon, so Super Nerd's Pokemon, are creating a racket, so Yellow can't tell where the Marowak bone is coming from. Yellow gets clever, puts his Pokemon back in the balls, and when the bone comes around again, the Pokeballs, which are now on a string, get wrapped around the bone, and are carried back to Super Nerd's hiding spot, unleashing Dodie and Ratty upon Super Nerd. So then Pika escapes, and so Super Nerd decides to cut losses and escape as well, but he's blocked by Onix and Starmie. Brock and...
Who has the Onix and Starmie? Oh, Brock probably has the Starmie, and Misty probably has the Onix.
Well, obviously.
Yeah. Makes
Brock
sense.
and Misty have shown up and thank Erica for the call. So she obviously did call them as well. We just didn't actually get a panel that said that she was doing that. They are apparently known as the Gym Leaders of Justice.
Yeah, I knew they were part of some
Yeah, that's what
group.
they call themselves. All three of them together, and maybe Blaine. Super Nerd thinks he knows everything about them, but then Blaine shows up carrying the wounded Yellow. But before Super Nerd can attack, he is hit hard, and thanks to electrical charges from Pika, chunks of metal-laced concrete that are bitten off by Ratty and kicked into the air by Dodua start latching onto Super Nerd's insulated suit. It's a very clever tactic.
It is.
So his Pokemon are all working together. And so they all begin to see that Yellow trying to find Red might not be as crazy as they thought. Blaine also has a moment with Misty where he apologizes for what he did to Gyarados.
Oh yeah, because he made Gyarados kind of.
Yeah, so he... Oh, yeah, so maybe we didn't see a scene. I think we saw a scene of him in the Team Rocket headquarters, but this, I think, does have a little flashback maybe of the Gyarados tank somewhere? Maybe not.
Can I see?
Oh, maybe not. Okay, so then the scene I'm thinking about, was it a different one? Okay. So yeah, he definitely had a hand in why we had the crazy Gyarados way back when he meets Misty. And remember, we learned back in volume 3, where they're fighting at Sylph Company, Oak talks about how the reason they had Oak was because he was a replacement for the scientist they did have.
Yeah.
So he was replacing Blaine.
Well, he didn't. Actually.
Well, he didn't. Yeah, that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to get him to replace Blaine. So then Blaine's Growlithe sniffs Super Nerd and realizes it carries a scent of Moonbeam, and he looks off toward Mount Moon, suggesting Red had been there. So they're good. Because remember, Super Nerd's costume and scent he was able to get off of Red somehow, including the insulated technology and everything. So they're like, well, then Red must have been at Mount Moon at some point. So they're thinking they're going to investigate that. Then that's when something weird happens with Super Nerd's body.
A weird Mr. Ghost thing starts grabbing Super Nerd.
Yep. Starts to float around into or out of him. Not really sure what. And then a mysterious figure, which we all know as Agatha, watches from the window of a tall, nearby building.
And she's the ghost trainer, so she's like carrying him or something.
The ghost trainer that's really just a poison trainer.
I'm pretty sure this is a ghost type Pokemon doing all this.
It's a ghost poison type Pokemon. Because the only ghost type Pokemon in Red and Blue were poison type, and all her other Pokemon were poison.
Deal with it.
It's just funny to me. Alright, and that brings us to chapter 49. As ghastly as before. So a black fog seems to fall onto the area, and Super Nerd's body starts to float away.
Bye-bye.
So the gym leaders send out Pokemon and are confronted by a Gastly, which explains the fog. But the fight is near a tree, and all the blasting from Growlithe and others is going to hurt a wild Pokemon up in the tree, and suddenly Yellow pops in and uses his fishing rod with Pika and a ball at the end, and launches Pika at the tree, where Pika then rescues the Caterpie in the tree.
Yay!
Okay, this is funny, because it's a Caterpie in a tree. What's a famous thing for rescuing out of trees?
That's hilarious. A cat.
Yep.
Catter.
Yeah, they usually see that in cartoons and stuff of firemen doing it, and Superman is known for often saving cats from trees, even Spider-Man.
And like, I named my Caterpie cat in Red and Blue, didn't I?
You may have, I don't remember. I think so.
It's just perfect.
Yeah, that's pretty great. So, everyone is in disbelief at Yellow putting so much effort to rescue that Pokemon, while still beat up from before. Because Yellow was all beat up from the Marill thing when he sacrificed himself. Well, basically, yeah, I forgot about the broken thing. But yeah, he sacrificed himself basically so that the Pokemon can go attack and find where Super Nerd was. Mm-hmm. So then, the Gastly they thought they blew away shows up again, lifting Super Nerd again because it had gone into hiding inside the Nerd. Black Mist returns, but then a voice calls out about hitting the core, and suddenly Gastly is blasted right through its body. Someone is standing in the shadows atop a building, and then we see it is Blue and his Charizard.
Yay!
Blue's pretty cool in these this manga.
Yeah, I like the way he dresses. That's
Yeah,
like
his
a
little
whisk.
his cloak kind of thing. Yeah, it's super cool.
Is it cold or hot out? Because I can't tell. Was Misty and her like shorts and tank top like thing, and then Blue in his cloak.
Well, he was off in like desertish areas too. I think the cloak is kind of just to protect from like wind and things.
Okay.
And she's traveling.
Anyway, he is the one that reveals that it is likely Agatha, the Elite Four, that was trying to steal Super Nerd because the Gastly's fighting strategy was just like one he fought before when he fought Agatha some other time.
What?
He accidentally ran into Agatha at the abandoned power plant and then found that Agatha, and possibly the rest of the Elite Four, has a vendetta against his grandfather, Professor Oak. And so he has not been communicating electronically with him, hence the flying Pokemon delivering letters, which we had in the last episode. We talked about how that ended.
Oh, that makes sense. I forgot that.
Yep. So Blue tells Yellow that Red would have found a way to win and save the Caterpie, and that is a level of skill Yellow is going to need to find and save Red. Blue is about to leave, but Yellow wants to go with and be trained. Brock gives Yellow Graveler, and Misty hands over Ammonite, so that Yellow has more than just 3 Pokemon.
No, he has 5.
Well, we won't talk about it this time, but he actually has 6. Well,
How
he
is
doesn't. He doesn't have the 6th one yet. That's the whole plot of the chapters later.
He gets the Caterpie, right?
Yeah, he gets the Caterpie. We'll spoil it right now. He gets the Caterpie, but like there's a whole thing of training with Blue to get the Caterpie, and it's hilarious, and we'll get to that later. So we don't get the training right away because we jump into some backstory of when Blue met Agatha. So chapter 50, Lapras Lazily. Blue starts to explain his confrontation with Agatha. He was surfing on a gold duck, so he has surfed with his gold duck,
Nice.
2 years ago and ran into a Lapras. After the battle, Blue captured it and went to shore. A kid claimed the Lapras was his, but Blue pointed out he shouldn't be able to catch a Pokemon that has a trainer. It didn't. The kid had been tracking it for some time, though. Turns out the kid really wants the Lapras to save his Haunter that went missing in the abandoned power plant. Professor Oak confirms that there have been rumors of shadows coming in and out of that plant. Blue hadn't even thought about going there since Zapdos was no longer there after the whole thing with Team Rocket capturing and stuff. Last we saw the legendary birds, they all 3 went flying in different directions after they got re-split up. Freedom! So, yeah, okay. Professor Oak makes a good point about training for the Pokemon League. So this is before the Pokemon League part, though, like, I'm guessing.
Where Red wins.
Yeah. So he goes and or maybe it's just training so that he can do better the next Pokemon League. I don't even know. Anyway, it's 2 years ago, and we know that the Pokemon League was like 2 years ago. So.
Oh yeah, they were about the same time.
Yeah. So he goes and claims that the kid has to get Haunter back, and that Blue is just going to keep an eye on things. Agatha awaits all, creepily, surrounded by ghost Pokemon, and a Magnemite zooms by and, maybe, is spying on the 2 intruders.
They're not intruders.
She set herself up there as like a base of operations, and they're getting in there, so they're intruding on what she considers her base at the moment.
Well, it doesn't belong to her. It's a public place. So she can just suck it up.
Buttercup. Alright, so then chapter 51, Electromagneton. A Magneton, the evolved form of Magnemite, and 2 Magnemite get in the way and create some kind of sonic barrier. Machamp has a tough time, but does knock a bolt out of Magneton, and then is able to hit that weak point. So they create this little weak spot in the Magneton.
Because Blue's fighting with his
Yes.
Champ?
Machamp, yeah. Machamp is what I said. Yep.
Well, yeah, I just didn't remember exactly what you said.
Sure. The kid is jumpy and panicky, and so Blue gives some advice on not doing those things if he wants to be a trainer. Then, Agatha makes her presence known and notices the Pokedex, and so she knows he must have gotten it from Oak. The kid blurts out Blue's name and relation to Oak, and so Agatha is pleased to get some revenge on Oak.
Oh, goodness.
And I really
Good job, kid.
Well, and I like this because this shows that Agatha and Oak have a history again, which we only get kind of a glimpse of in the video game, remember? When we fight the Elite Four, we get to Agatha, she's like, oh, Professor Oak, he was a great trainer, but now he just plays around with his Pokedex.
Now he just plays around with the Pokedex.
That sounds like a phone almost.
Okay, yeah, so Agatha finds out that who Blue is and how he's connected to Oak. So she uses Gengar to put Blue in a sort of sleep, and then uses the Dream Eat ability on him, sucking out his energy. In the dreamlike state, Blue sees a memory of his master, like a mentor or whatever, training him when he left Pallet. So Blue had somebody like training him on how to do things and be like really good at stuff instead of just like him doing his own thing to train Pokemon.
That's nice.
Yeah.
The shadow looks like the Team Rocket trainer that Blue fought, and it was like the whole building collapsed or something, and he was missing for a while, and he gives Red a rock, which turned into the pterodactyl thing. That's what the shadow looks like to me.
Oh, Giovanni?
Yeah,
Oh,
Giovanni.
All right.
Oh,
Well,
yeah, he
interesting.
does.
Anyway, so Agatha goes on about how humans are selfish, even though she's human. Or at least we can assume she is. And the unfinished abandoned power plant is a monument to that selfishness. She seems to think that Pokemon and humans were not meant to coexist. So we're starting to get an idea of what Elite Four's plans are here. It's a little glimpse.
Maybe she's not human, and that's why she's so good with ghosts. Or poison. She's
Maybe-
a poison.
Like the,
Maybe she's already dead.
like the Sarah or something, her name.
Lorelai?
Where she has psychic powers and...
Sabrina?
Sabrina!
The gym leader?
Yeah, she
She's human.
has psychic powers.
She does have psychic powers, but she's still human. Then we have Chapter 52, Growing Out of Gengar. Agatha explains that the waste drove out many Pokemon from their homes, but to her ghost Pokemon, it became a great power source. That's why she's hanging out there. The kid then realizes that must have been how Agatha stole his Haunter, and she gets a little cranky and says that she doesn't steal. Meanwhile, in Blue's memory dream, he's getting beat up and upset and wants permission to use Pokemon since he is undergoing Pokemon trainer training. Pokemon trainer training. But his master explains that a good Pokemon trainer must also master his own body and train it up. And that very training is, of course, how Blue can begin to wake up. While Agatha is sure Blue is almost dead, Blue does a really cool trick where Golduck reads his mind and transmits the messages to the Pokedex for the kid to see. Because we've already seen that the Golduck can, like, do things with the Pokedex before. Because that's how they found Mr. Mime in Saffron City when they need to get inside. So that whole interaction with the Pokedex is cool. The kid is scared, but Blue tells him he has to have the courage to go into battle on his own. His Haunter is likely waiting for him. Then Agatha reveals she discovered the trick Blue was doing with the Pokedex, but also admits to not knowing what they were talking about. The attack on Blue intensifies, but then the kid rushes in and finds Haunter and launches him at Agatha. Gengar charges in to deflect, but the Dream Eater attack is weakened because of that, and Blue and Scyther begin to drop down together. Agatha laughs, since Scyther's attacks won't be able to hit Ghost Pokemon, but some mumbo-jumbo about willpower and being well-trained and focused and hearts being one, he should be able to have Scyther's attacks work. And they do.
Bum, bum, bum.
So obviously his training with his mentor was good. Agatha acknowledges that Blue is definitely related to Oak. He wants to know what her history with Oak is, but she leaves. Then, with the kid showing some true growth, Blue leaves and releases Lapras for the kid to do whatever he wants in trying to capture it.
Oh, nice of Blue.
Yep. So, Blue has a good heart overall.
It's true.
He's just very focused on being good at things and doing things right. Alright. So that wraps up the manga, but I do want to bring up another episode I skipped that's different than the one I mentioned earlier, because there was another episode I accidentally skipped at one point too, and it was right before like Sabrina Gym and all that stuff in the anime, and it was The Ghost of Maiden Rock. Where is actually the first time we meet Gastly in the anime. Do you remember that one at all?
The Ghost of Maiden's Peak. It's the one where...
Maiden's Peak. That might be.
What?
I said Maiden's Rock, but you might be right. It might be Maiden's
It's
Peak.
Maiden's Peak.
Is
I
it
didn't even
is
know
it
I
that one where
did
Rock
that, sorry.
falls in love with the ghost?
And James.
And James. They're
And
like,
James.
I watched some of it before I had to go somewhere. I can't remember where. So.
And then the old lady like sells them things that like ward off ghosts, but it doesn't work.
Ghost stickers.
Yeah, the ghost stickers.
She just earns a ton of money, and nothing happens with the stickers.
And it turns out the Gastly was just having a good old time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a super important episode, but I thought we'd bring it up now since I had skipped over it way back. And that was like really close to before they end up at the Sabrina gym and then have to go to Lavender Town to get some ghost Pokemon. Alright, so now that's done, let's get back into the anime. We start off with episode 5 of the... Well, depending on what you're watching it on. This is like an episode I don't even remember. Much higher because they split up the Indigo League into the Orange Islands for whatever reason
But
on
like
Pokemon TV.
they changed the intro a little ways through season 2, right?
According to Pokemon TV, if you look on like other websites, that would be around the time that the season 2 started.
Okay, that's good.
So this is like episode 5 of the second season, and it's called Fit to Be Tied, and it is our first gym of the Orange Islands.
I like this gym.
You like this gym?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't
Fit to be
remember
tied.
this episode.
That's what the episode is called. So this episode gives us our first of the Orange League gyms. The trio are riding along on Lapras, and this is going to be a constant. We will continue to see this. Now that they have Lapras, every episode's pretty much going to begin with them riding on Lapras.
Instead of them wandering in the woods,
Instead of them wandering in the woods.
they always have their starter.
They're
Probably
wandering.
much easier to draw, too.
They're wandering in the water.
Or reuse. Yeah. So anyway, Pikachu almost falls off, and Ash catches him. And then Ash and Misty talk about wanting food, again, because they always want food. And so Tracy, their new companion buddy person, tells them they can head to a nearby island that also has a gym. Team Rocket now rides along in a pedal-powered Magikarp sub instead of the Gyarados one they used to use.
I think it's just because they're so stupid that they think Gyarados evolves into Magikarp.
Except that James kicked that Magikarp into the water forever ago after the same and it evolved in Gyarados.
They're still stupid.
They are stupid.
Yeah, they don't even know how to work a blimp or whatever that was called.
I had a dream where someone that
Oh,
called.
sorry, I didn't know you were an expert blimp pilot.
I had a dream where someone told me I was like Jesse, where I go and do something, or I go and do something dumb and then I leave and do nothing.
Okay.
It was confusing. I'm
That's
like,
really weird.
what?
Jesse!
James.
Anyway,
Meow,
so it's
that's
kind of
right.
interesting that they go backwards in the evolution with their subs. Maybe it's because they also crash blimps now that they're being punished. I don't know. Even though that's what Giovanni really wanted was the blimps to crash.
Then they made a good blimp.
Maybe it's because they didn't die. He's upset. I don't know.
Oh,
What?
yep. That makes sense.
No, he wanted the blimp to break because then
He
he
has
would...
insurance, but he probably is okay with Jesse and James sacrificing themselves for that insurance money because they are always screwing up.
Why doesn't he just fire them?
I don't know.
Because they knew too.
Maybe-
Because
yeah,
they
maybe
know
they
too
know
many
too much.
seek it.
So, but then they sink and get stuck in seaweed. Then back on the island at the Pokemon Center, the trio have a chat with Professor Oak on the screen again, and Tracy pops in because he's a big fan. We learned last time,
Yep.
and the two of them are introduced. Meanwhile, Oak is dealing with Ash's muck. Ash again, like he's always dealing with muck in there. So then later on, when they're going off to the gym, Ash falls for a coconut trap that douses him in water. And the kid who set it up makes fun of Ash and tells him he must not be a very good trainer. Then the gym leader, Sissy, shows up, stops a fight with the kid, and reveals she is the gym trainer.
Well, that's because she asked him what he was there for, I think. And then
Wait,
he's like,
is
I'm
this-
going to challenge the gym leader. She's like, okay,
Yes.
challenge
Is this an
accepted.
episode where Brock is like left behind or something?
We already left him behind, that's why we have Tracy.
Yep.
Brock isn't in this. The trio is now Tracy, Ash, and Misty.
Yeah, I thought when you said trio and then Tracy, I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah, Tracy, the Pokemon watcher.
Yeah, I know who Tracy
And he
is.
draws pictures, kind of like...
Yellow.
Hello! Anyway, Tracy says he has to make observations, and then starts sketching Sissy, the gym leader. Misty catches on to that. Seems Tracy might be another Brock. Like, he is really replacing Brock in every way now, it seems.
Yeah.
Because he's not
Probably
just
the
watching
cleaning.
Pokemon. What?
Because he, except for like the cleaning maid.
Well, right, but he's replacing the really liking all the girls kind of thing.
Super Brock.
Then Ash asks how many Pokemon they get to use at the gym, but the gym leader tells him this isn't how it's done. They don't do a battle. They don't battle at the gym.
This
So the-
one's actually kind of cool.
Excuse me.
Yeah, Ruby's a big fan of this gym system.
I like it. It's cool. And
I
like,
wish I watched this episode.
You didn't watch this one
I
either?
don't remember.
Oh, that's right. I think we watched the first couple, and then you came in for the last little bit. So they have a water gun challenge. She uses Seadra, and Ash uses the Pokedex to figure out who Seadra is, despite the fact that he just dealt with the Seadra back in the actual Indigo Plateau tournament.
It's fine. He said that
annoying.
Squirtle.
And he uses Squirtle.
Well,
And the test is to see who is better in these more skill-based competitions.
Brock is always like, it's that Pokemon, and Ash is like, what's that Pokemon?
Well, part of the reason they do it is just so the audience can get like a Pokedex entry and learn a little bit about the Pokemon. But when Ash has already done it with a Pokemon, it's a little annoying when he does it for the same Pokemon he should already know about. Granted, that being said, it can be hard to remember everything, so sometimes you might forget. Although this Pokemon that he's not remembering kind of played a significant role since it was one he battled during the big championship.
And what is it, Seadra?
Seadra.
Oh, so it's not Horsey.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, they see Horsey all the time. They've had plenty to do with Horsey.
Yeah,
Cause,
and Horsey is Misty's Pokemon.
yeah, but remember, she left that behind now. She left it back with her 3 sisters back in Cerulean. It's also where she left Starmie, so she only has her Staryu and her Psyduck. She might have something else too.
Why didn't she leave Psyduck with her sisters?
She tried. Do you remember? They didn't want it.
They don't want
Nobody wants Psyduck. Except for back at Koga, they wanted the Koga's gym. They wanted the Psyduck, and that was when Misty didn't want to get rid of Psyduck.
Well, now she knows that Psyduck's cool.
Except that she still tried to get rid of Psyduck later with her sisters and gets annoyed with it.
Legitimately?
Well, do you remember that long after the Koga gym, we had the series of the Safari Zone, and then we had the Bike Gang, and she tried to get rid of Psyduck, or she was annoyed with Psyduck then too.
But that's because he didn't get a headache.
Well, she was annoyed before that, and she didn't call him out the first time too. But she's like, "Fine, whatever." And then she tried to get him to get his headache going. So she remembered that he can be useful, but she still didn't want him.
Didn't she grab a bike and start trying to smack
I think she was about to, and then things got interrupted.
Because Blue has a Gold Duck, and Gold Duck evolves from Psyduck.
Yep.
So how did Blue stand Psyduck?
Well,
long enough.
it's only in the anime that we really know that Psyduck seems to be.
Psyduck.
Honestly, Psyduck hasn't even been that annoying. Missy just gets really annoyed with him.
He's hilarious.
I love Psyduck.
But he pops
Because remember,
out
he
every
even
time.
helped Misty with the whole captured at the fashion thing, but she thought he just ran away.
Oh,
So
yeah.
her perspective
And
makes
then
it
she
look like it's like she sees him as useless, but he's not.
Not useless at all.
Because she's like, how dare you run away when I most need you?
Exactly. Anyway, so I've not played Pokemon Sun and Moon, but I mentioned them before because I know that's where the regional variants start showing up, where like you have a different version of the same Pokemon, like Alolan, Vulpix, and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Because it takes place in Alola, Sun and Moon does, and those are on islands, kind of like the Orange Islands, and we already saw that on the Orange Islands there was some Pokemon that looked different colors and stuff like that.
At the place where Brock got left behind.
Correct, at Professor Ivy's.
Mm-hmm.
And now I've understood that like they don't do typical gyms in Sun and Moon. There's still like 8 of them or whatever, but there's something to do with trials and stuff. And so I'm curious if there's some more things that are kind of like this. I think there's still battles, but I wonder if there's some more like these challenges too, kind of like we had in Sword and Shield. You know what I mean? Like we had to do a bunch of challenges before we did the gyms.
Wait,
you mean gym challenges?
Yeah.
Wait, you had to
They don't call them gym.
You had to do those in Sword and Shield?
Yeah, there was always some kind of gym challenge.
We've so far had to do that in Scarlet and Violet, remember?
Correct, and so it's carried on. But I think they might have even started with Sun and Moon. I don't know for sure.
We
I
can't
like the
say
fighting
too
gym.
much about the gym challenges.
Because I mean, technically, there's gym challenges even in Red and Blue, but like they're walking around a quote unquote invisible wall or digging through trash cans to find the 2 correct switches to turn off the electric barrier.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's that.
I like the fighting gym.
Yeah.
I like the
I wanted to go back to the top, but you won't let me.
Nope.
I'm gonna play it again and then just do that over and over and over and over and over until my time's up.
I like the electric gym. That was fun.
In
Let's Go.
Oh, Let's Go. So also the same as Red and Blue, sort of. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, like I said, I don't know Sun and Moon, so I don't know how the trials work exactly, but whatever. I will be interested when we get there to figure it out. Oh, so they tie, and so then they move on to moving targets, and they tie that as well. So then they do a quick draw contest to see who hits the target first, and they tie that too.
He tie every time.
Everything. So everything's a draw. So there's so then they have one thing to break the tie: a Pokemon Wave Ride, which is a race. And then they find out, so she calls out her Blastoise for the race, and he calls out Lapras, which makes sense. But then he finds out they have to ride. They have to stand and surf on the Pokemon when they go for the Wave Ride. But before they can even take off, Team Rocket shows up, covered in seaweed.
Jesse.
James.
Meow, that's
Team Rocket.
It's hilarious. So, but like when they show up and they start saying all that, like they get partway through, and I think they even change some of the words again on it, which I love it when they change the words.
Yeah.
But then the rest of the group, like Sissy and Ash and all them, start talking over them. They're not paying any attention because they don't take it seriously at all at this point. It's just like, who are they? Are they friends of yours? And they're like, no. And they're just like, oh, they just do this. I don't even know what they're talking about. They say this every time. It is hilarious.
Prepare for trouble.
Like,
with a double.
when they win the grand prize at the place, or they're the 1,000-something person to arrive, and they both kiss him on the cheeks. And then they're on the screen saying their thing, and they're like, their channel.
Okay, yeah, what she's talking about is they win a reward when they walk into town where Sabrina's gym is, and
Oh, they get trapped in a room.
yes, and then
Oh,
on the
yeah.
little TV, the Team Rockets are doing their thing, and
channel
everyone's
will
sitting
be
around at
16.
tea, and it's like, this show is quite boring. Yes, it'll get canceled soon.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Anyway.
I just love their intro now.
Oh, yeah, their intro's great, especially when they change it up a little bit. So anyway, they use Weezing to cloud the scene, and then they get a net on Blastoise. Sissy doesn't care, because Blastoise can handle himself. He's too heavy for them, and they're all sunk back to the bottom of the water again when he is netted by them. And then Blastoise shoots back up and drags the sub back up, so that Team Rocket goes...
Team Rocket's blasting off again.
Well, no. So he gets free, and then so Team Rocket goes and tries again, but Pikachu fries them this time, and Blastoise then launches them off with his cannons, and that's when they blast out.
Team Rocket's blasting off again.
Then they learn that the trainers need to. This is where they finally learn that the trainers need to stand on their Pokemon for the race. It looks rough for Ash, but in the end, there's a big wave that starts chasing them. That's going to consume him, but Lapras is able to use an Ice Beam on his half of the wave.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they're safe from that, but then
Sissy
starts to catch up again anyway. But then... Well, go ahead.
And then Lapras uses Ice Beam across the water and then just rides on that instead of the water.
Because they want to see if he's faster on ice. And he is. He wins. By a nose.
Wait,
It's always by a nose in these things.
Like Ponyta or Rapidash.
Just like that Rapidash episode from a while back, yep. So anyway, Ash gets his first Orange League badge, the Coral Eye badge, and they learn that all the badges for the Orange League are seashells. Then Tracy draws Sissy surfing on Blastoise, and Misty calls him out on it again, since he's supposed to be a Pokemon watcher. And then we move on to the 6th episode of Season 2, which is Pikachu Revolts. And this is a cool episode, I think.
I won't have much input on this
Wait,
episode.
is this the one where he gets grumpy?
Yes. So, once again, they're riding Lapras, like they always do at the beginning of these things now.
I think they're riding Psyduck. All of them on top of Psyduck.
No.
He's not getting a headache.
Psyduck was going like...
And they do talk about being hungry again, and Tracy does tell them that this new island that they're heading towards, but does definitely have food, which it would, because it looks like it's just a big giant city coming out of the ocean. I mean, I'm sure there's land and island there, but once they get there, they see some Pokemon are attacking their trainers, and as they get closer to them off on the docks, Pikachu suddenly turns around and looks mean at Ash, and then even Togepi turns against Misty and looks meaner than the cute little Pokemon ever has.
And Misty doesn't like it because her precious little
Yeah.
Pokemon.
And then
Sad.
Ash gets totally electrocuted when he tries to go out to Pikachu again by the Magnemites surrounding him that were attacking their trainers earlier. So then Officer Jenny shows up along with Gastly.
But don't they
More
dis-
Gastly action.
Yeah, but don't they disappear altogether before that?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, they probably do. And then she kind of explains that this has been going on, whatever, and so they go back to her base, and they get in touch with Professor Oak, who is contemplating what is going on. Jenny seems to think it's a psychic attack since Gastly hasn't been affected because Ghost is strong against psychic.
What?
Well, in the anime, in the Indigo League, they go to Lavender Town to get Ghost Pokemon to fight the Psychic Pokemon because Ghosts are good against Psychic. And in all the generations and like Pokemon Go and stuff, Ghosts are good against Psychic. So when we played, we trained up our Gengars. We got them all the way to Gengar and kept training them so that they could fight. Fortunately, we ran into Psychic Pokemon at the Poison Gym and learned very quickly before we got to the Psychic Gym that this wasn't going to work.
Your Gengar was better than mine.
And originally I thought, well, maybe it was just because they didn't let that be an ability. And then later on I did some more research, and it was supposed to be. Even in Red and Blue, Ghost was supposed to be good against Psychic. But it was another error in their programming. There's a lot of weird errors in the programming of Red and Blue.
I mean, it's an old game.
Sure. It's just interesting to find these things out later on. That's like, oh, this was supposed to work.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, Jolteon learned a bug move, and bug works against Psychic Pokemon.
What? What?
I think the idea is that bugs like distract and mess with the psychic idea with all their buzzing and stuff like that. We even had that in like a Smallville episode with the guy that had that ability to make people do what he wanted by just saying it. Whatever his name is.
And Clark was doing football and he said trash.
And remember, they didn't like locusts because the buzzing of them disrupted their signal somehow. So, same idea.
Yep.
Anyway, it makes me think that there might be a lot of like stories about bugs and like magical psychic-y things. I don't know these stories, but it makes me think that there might be a more common concept that I just am unaware of and should look more into.
Yeah.
Okay. So, this might be a little out of order here, but like they did go to talk. Yeah, they talked to find out psychic, and she plans to use Gastly to find out what's going on. And we have Team Rocket, Jesse and James, show up, and they want to take in the sights. So they just end up showing up at the same island as Ash and them, coincidentally, like usual. They weren't following them at this point.
It's fine.
Well, it happens all the time through the series. It's totally cool. But then Meowth gets after them for being distracted, but then he goes weird and runs off. James and Jesse chase him down and find a strange building. An elevator comes down to greet the newcomers, and we find out Team Rocket is involved in the weird behaviors of the Pokemon. But not Jesse and James. It's the return of
Butch
and Cassidy.
Or should I say, Butch? Because he talks like that.
I don't like his voice.
Yeah, whatever.
Wait a minute.
And they have their mascot is Raticate. Raticate!
Wait, were they are they the same people at like the fashion thing? Or not?
No, the fashion thing was Jesse and James.
When Misty tried to get rid of Psyduck.
When she tried to have Psyduck get a makeover,
Yeah.
basically to be not a makeover like the other one, but to go to the spa and be better. Yes, they were the Team Rocket involved in that plot, and that was the first time and only other time we've met them so far.
Yep.
All right, so then Meowth tells them that he's there to serve, and then they have a little motto showdown where Jesse and James say their motto, but Butch and Cassidy say their motto, which is a little bit different each line, and so they go back and forth. Like Jesse says the first line, and then like Cassidy says the first line, and then James says the second line, and Butch says the second line.
Which one came first though? I think Jesse and James claimed that they were copycatting. But in this one, it seemed like in the spa one, it seemed like that Jesse and James were being copied, but in this one it seems like that's the Team Rocket motto, which you Cassidy say, and then Jesse and James mess
Completely agree. Yeah, I agree that back in the breeding center secret or whatever episode that was called, that it sounded like that Jesse and James did say they were being copied. And this one it does say, well, we say it just as good as you do. Like it's like the Team Rocket motto. So I agree with you that it's weird.
Yeah.
And of course, it makes me wonder what the Team Rocket motto for both of them are in this episode in Japanese, since we know that in Japanese the motto is already different than what we actually read or hear all the time.
Yeah.
It's just all kinds of interesting curiosities, I think. So yeah, they have their little motto showdown. Butch and Cassidy are excited to get back at Jesse and James and Ash and company. It is revealed that the boss came down to the station himself after they had been arrested and paid for their release, which hurts Jesse and James's feelings because like he never does that for us.
Well, why should he?
But then Jesse and James unleash all 4 of their Pokemon, because Meowth they don't necessarily consider their Pokemon, right? It's just their buddy. But
Yeah.
they release Lickitung and Arbok and Weezing and Victory Bell, who once again eats James's head as He always does every time he comes out.
Wait, but aren't the Pokemon turned against them?
Not yet.
Oh.
They just pulled him out first, and so Victory Bell had his moment that he always has when he gets pulled out.
Well,
I love Victory Bell's like sound too, because he doesn't say like Victory Bell like a lot of Pokemon say their names, right? He's like ah, like he's just like screaming.
But I think if the Pokemon get turned against their owners, that means Victory Bell should eat Butch and Cassidy. Butch.
Well, they're totally obedient to whatever is going on here. So then Drowsy is revealed, hooked up to cables, and there was a dish on top of the building too to send out that signal. And so Drowsy is the one taking control of all the Pokemon, and he takes control of the 4 that just got popped out by Jesse and James. Then Butch and Cassidy sick Jesse and James's own Pokemon against them. And so I think there was some back and forth between this scene and the stuff with Jenny and everything. But then we cut to Jesse and James waking up in police station with Officer Jenny. What's up, Rosella?
Jazzy does this whole weird dance and saying Rosie,
Yes.
Rosie,
Well,
Rosie.
and we actually saw that dance before in the Pikachu jukebox stuff when they play I think it's the "What Kind of Pokemon Are You" song. We see him do his dance a lot from this scene.
I bet there's a test online, like, to find out what type of Pokemon you are.
Yeah, probably.
We want to do it. We want to do it.
Anyway, so yeah, they wake up in the station with Jenny, Ash, and the rest of the heroes, and they all convince them. They don't want to at first because like, how would we would never work with you, blah blah blah. But they convince them to help them find where them, because Ash is like, I need to find my Pikachu. You better tell me where my Pikachu is. So they do. So it works, and so then Jesse and James show back up on the camera, and they're like, "Oh, we have a peace offering, and we're bringing you a bunch of Pokeballs for all your new Pokemon." And then what comes out of the backs, like the cart of Pokeballs? Ash and everybody.
Yes.
And then Ash and them face off against all the hypnotized Pokemon, and Ash starts egging Pikachu on, getting in danger, and like, "Hey, come at me, Pikachu. Can't get me, neener."
Why did he do that again?
Because he leads Pikachu to go zap him over by the machine that Drowsy's hooked up to and explodes it and breaks it, freeing all the Pokemon.
But Ash still gets hurt, but it's so
Yeah,
cute.
he does get hurt.
He gets hurt and like falls down, and then Pikachu's like, "Oh, my buddy."
Yeah. But then, once they're all outside, Butch and Cassidy are on top of the building and still attempt to use Drowsy, who teleports all around.
It's this
Yeah.
episode.
So then Ash and Jesse also steps up and to help out. Like, they're like, no, this we're done. We're working together. We're going to take out Butch and Cassidy. Like,
Yeah.
it's a common enemy, which is really funny because Jesse and them are on the same team technically, but whatever.
Well, Butch and Cassidy are kind of mean to them.
This is
so...
true. This is true.
I mean, they're not very good. Like, it's fine.
So they were going to have Drowsy do one thing, and he kept teleporting around, so they couldn't hit him.
Yeah.
And so then Butch and Cassidy have him start doing the metronome attack, which we learned that Clefairy Clefairy and Clefable did way back in the Mount Moon episode.
What did they say when they waved their arms? Anything?
Clefairy.
No, I mean not
Oh,
Clefairy.
I don't think Drowsy says anything. He's just waving it. But like, what happens in this epic part is like he's doing this, and it shows like Gastly coming in to help with the battle, and like Pikachu's there, and there's all this stuff going on, and it even shows Togepi like mimicking
It's so cute.
the thing. And were you asking like what the people say?
No.
Okay, because there is some conversation. Tracy says just about anything can happen when a metronome happens, because metronome just does a random attack. We don't know what metronome, like, it can do it. You never know what's going to happen when you use metronome, even in the game. And Togepi is squeaking in metronome, like as he's doing the metronome, like as he's mimicking the metronome
Yeah, it's so
movement.
cute.
And then he glows a little bit, and
Togepi glows, not Drowsy.
Yep,
Togepi.
Togepi glows, and boom! Butch and Cassidy are once again defeated and locked back in a prison vehicle. The building area is all demolished, and as a reward for his service, Ash gets to become an honorary citizen of that island. And then they had something for Jesse and James too, for an award, but they were nowhere to be found. And of course, they're on a rooftop watching. They're like we would ever accept an award from, like, that would ruin our reputation. We're bad people. That's our job.
What was the reward that they were gonna get?
Well, probably just to be honored for doing good things and being an honorary citizen too.
Why do they need to be a citizen? Like,
They don't have to be. It was just like hey, we appreciate you. Thank you for helping us out. And you have the privileges that come from being somebody who lives in this island.
Like what?
Who knows what
I
a
don't
privilege?
see
Maybe
any-
some tax breaks or something. I don't know, man. I have no idea we do not have a history on the city. Okay, so I don't know what benefits you get for being a citizen of that particular island.
I just think that's weird.
Well, because like you have to be a citizen of like certain towns and things like that, even in our country, to be able to be a part of certain things. Like sometimes
voting?
well, sure, voting is a part of it for certain aspects, and even like getting involved in certain like school area stuff, you have to be a resident of that area that you would attend that school, even if you don't attend the school, to be able to get some of the benefits from that and all that. So it's just all kinds of things depending on the towns and states and all that. All right, so then that's the end of that episode. They go back on their way, and then we have the Crystal Onix. And is this the one where there's an episode here where Tracy brings up Togepi not knowing any moves?
Yeah.
I think it's at the beginning of this one.
Yeah, so while they're riding on Lapras, that's their conversation.
Yeah, I would think
And
so.
Misty talks about how she's tried, and it cuts back to some time when they were back in the forest or whatever, and she was trying to teach it to do headbutt on a pole, like a wooden post, and she headbutts it. And
Well,
hurts
she
herself.
got so annoyed that Togepi wasn't, so she just bangs her head.
Yeah, so she's like, I've tried to teach him moves, but he's not learning anything. It might be this one, it might be the next episode. I don't remember where it is, but she definitely, either in the Crystal Onix or in the Pink, she's trying to teach him, or they talk about how she's trying to teach him moves.
It might be in the Pink because that's when Togepi
Because
does
that's when he does it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
so it probably isn't.
Yeah, it could be. Oh yeah, and they have something else that happens in the water in this one. The gang discovers a bottle with a message in it. So it's probably the episode after that.
That would make sense, I suppose.
I don't know for sure, but it could be. Anyway, and so they read the message, and it's a note from someone who wants info about the Crystal Onix. So they all make it to the island and find a shop, coincidentally enough. Find the shop that the person was from, coincidentally enough.
Little
And-
girl.
Yeah, a little girl, and her brother runs the shop. And they meet the older brother and find he just doesn't have the creative spark that his grandpa did to make glass Pokemon in a way that makes them seem alive. And like everybody's like, your glass Pokemon look amazing. He's like, yeah, but they don't seem lifelike. They don't seem like they could just burst alive at any moment. And so he even shatters one that looks really good because it's not good enough for him.
Still, he should sell it.
Because
Yeah,
you're going to
break
go
it.
out of business.
Yeah, and of course the neighboring place is annoyed about their shop being there, not doing anything. But he's sure if he could find the Crystal Onix that his grandfather found,
Yeah.
then he could get that creative spark, because that seemed to be what sparked his grandfather too in his work. Meanwhile, Team Rocket is at the neighboring shop and ends up breaking something, so they have to work off their debt because they have no money.
Mm-hmm.
And while they're working off the debt, they also hear the legend of the Crystal Onix as the shop owner makes fun of the other group leaving to go look for it.
Well, they were at that shop so that they could choose what they were going to steal later.
Yes,
Have a
that's
plan?
right. That was right.
And they picked something up and was like, what?
And then they broke it. But then, yeah, the shop owner there was talking to another guy about how the brother and the sister and those weirdos that showed up are going to go look for the Crystal Onix, like that exists.
It does.
So, well, so then they tried to use Tracy's Venonet again, because they've used his Venonet to track things before, because it can track Pokemon.
Uh-huh.
But they show like a picture of it, and it leads them to a area, like a little mini cliff with a bunch of rocks that kind of are in the shape of an Onix.
Yeah.
They're like, well, that's not what we were looking for. So then he's like, well, I have another Pokemon that could maybe help us out. And so he unleashes it, and we get another new Pokemon we haven't seen, because it's not in Red and Blue. It's the third Pokemon, I think, from Gold and Silver that we've met before the games have even come out.
Okay.
Peekaboo! Just kidding. Its name is Marill. Everybody called it Peekaboo back before they knew what its name was.
Oh.
Marill, the little one that looks like a
when
Pikachu.
you said that, I'm like, wait, was
A
it
blue
a
Pikachu
Marill?
with like the little blue ball at the end of its tail, and remember it highlighted everything. Its big round ears and everything. And the ears are the most important thing because it can hear things. And so like, hey, can you listen for basically an Onix?
Yep.
Isn't its tail part of it too?
It's part of the Pokemon.
Like,
The hearing part.
tracking stuff.
I don't know if it helped track it or not.
I thought it like picked up signals or something.
Oh, maybe because the tail almost looks like an antenna with its zigzagginess. You could be right. I don't remember. Because we've already met Togepi, which is also a Gold and Silver Pokemon. It's not from Red and Blue. And then in the Pokemon movie, we met Doniphan. I think it's Doniphan.
Who's Doniphan?
In the Pokemon movie, at the beginning, Ash ends up battling some stranger that shows up. So at the very beginning, they're talking about how he needs to train and all that stuff. And he's like, I'm too tired to train or do whatever. But then somebody shows up. He's like, hey, I want a battle. He's like, ooh, I can do a battle. So he gets up and goes into a battle. And the person he's battling has that, like, gray elephanty type of Pokemon.
I know which one.
Yeah, Doniphan. And that's also a Gold and Silver Pokemon that showed up before Gold and Silver. Marill listens and starts to lead the way, but Team Rocket somehow got ahead of them. So first, they get to that, like, area that connects the two islands, and the water, like, goes down a little bit, so there's, like, a little land bridge. And then they cross it, but then they fall into a classic Team Rocket pit trap.
That Team Rocket always falls into.
How do they get out of those? At this point, they literally need to carry something like that.
Well, they always get out of them.
There was Spirit Riding Free. There was this interactive thing where you had some choices to choose, and that for cowboy boots, like, you know how they have that spin.
What is Spirit Riding Free?
It's a horse show.
Okay. So they had some boots?
They had they found
horse
these
riding boots?
Except these clipped onto the boots, and they had that little spike spinny thing on.
Oh, yeah, spur.
And they put it on the front of their boots so they could climb out of the pit.
Oh, that's cool. I like it.
Yeah, it was
I see what you're saying. I see what you're talking about.
It was my favorite show for a little
while. Oh, okay. Back on topic. So they eventually get out of the hole, because Team Rocket's like, haha, we're going to get to the Crystal Onix first. But then they get out of the hole, and they go into the woods and get to the cave entrance, and
find a bunch of Team Rocket trapped in there.
Yeah, like, traps. I think Meowth is in a rope in a tree. James is holding himself up over a pit. So
like a star.
No, I thought that was Jesse.
No, that was
James.
James.
It's James.
I don't remember what Jesse was.
Jesse was in a wooden cage made out of sticks.
Oh, that's right. That's right. No, it was definitely James in the pit. I remember.
Now I remember.
Jesse was Charmander.
All right, and not quite in the pit because he's holding himself right off of it. Right?
But he can't get up.
Anyway, so then, and apparently these were other traps the Team Rocket set up for the gang, and they caught in their own traps, and it's just hilarious. So then they were like, try to make a deal. Meowth tries to make a deal with them, like that they'll split the reward or something. I don't know. And if they help them get out, and it's like, no, and it's like, okay, you can have it for free. You can have all of it. Just help us out. And they still don't help them out, and they go in the cave.
Well, they'll probably help them out once they get back.
Right. And then, inside the cave, they have Marill down in the water with its little blue tail bobbing up to keep track of where it's at, I guess. Looking for it, and we see some glimpses of the Crystal Onix, but he blends in with the water because he's crystal.
And he's in the water. Because he's a Crystal Onix, not an actual Onix, so not ground type. It's weird.
It is weird. And so then the Crystal Onix pops out, and they do try to use a water attack on it at some point, I think.
Yeah, but it doesn't work very well. So they end up using like a Charmander.
Eventually they Charmander it. Yeah, because he has a Charmander that he helps him with his glass stuff. Because Ash doesn't have a Charmander anymore. He has Charizard.
And heats him up a lot.
Team Rocket get out of the trap somehow, and they're in the cave, and then they're like, we couldn't figure, like, how'd you guys get out? And the riders can't even figure it out.
Yes, they talk about how even the riders don't know how they got out of the traps.
The riders don't even know?
The
writers of the show.
Oh.
They're like, yeah, they don't even know. We're just free now when we're here.
Maybe I didn't catch that. I thought they were saying that they didn't know.
I remember
Maybe
this.
Jesse pulls out a saw out of nowhere and breaks free and then frees the other.
Yeah, maybe. And then what did Team Rocket do here? Because I don't think they last long and probably get blasted off somewhere at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, they tried to probably attack the Crystal Onix, butt ahead. Crystal Onix didn't like it, beat him up,
yeah.
left.
Because, like, it's funny, because, like, I remember Team Rocket doing different things, but once they get to the action part and they show up and they get beat, and I'm like, I don't even remember what happened. They just got beat, they got thrown away, whatever.
They tried to use their Pokemon, they failed. The guy, do we know his name?
I don't remember his name.
Well, the big brother uses his Charmander that he used to help him make glass and heats the Crystal Onix up a lot, and then he has this division, basically.
Well, it makes the Onix almost look like rubies.
Yeah.
And yeah, then he has that weird vision thing where he's like looking at his reflection in the thing that's reflecting in his eye, and it's like going in and in and in, further and further.
I just got really confused with that part.
And then he had a spark.
Mm-hmm. And the Crystal Onix falls into the water, and Ash and Co are like, aren't you gonna catch him? He's like, I don't need to anymore.
Yeah, because he got a spark. That's what he needed.
His original plan was to catch it, but then
Yes.
he's like, I don't need to.
And so then he makes lifelike things, and he even makes a glass thing for Ash that he's looking at. Is it Pikachu that he makes?
I
I think so.
See, it seems logical to me, but I just don't remember for sure.
Yeah, I think it's like a Pikachu
Exactly.
that like fits in the palm of his
Yeah,
hand.
but it looks so lifelike, like it could just start moving at any moment. And the gang is off once again.
Don't they like leave the crystal Onix because he's like, so that's somebody else who needs a spark and come find it or whatever.
Oh, maybe.
I thought they talked about that.
Alright, so now we're going to go back a long ways because somehow, in my ridiculousness, I did not talk about this episode when we got to this point. And it's a very famous episode. A lot of people know it. A lot of people
I
love
like
it.
it.
Yeah, a lot of people like it. And it's
I mean,
called
it has a sad part, but
Bye Bye Butterfree.
Bye bye, Butterfree.
And I think this is a good time to talk about it because of the next episode. But in Bye Bye Butterfree, like Ash, like this is really early in the season too.
They go up in
it's
a
like
hot
episode like
air
18 or something.
they go up in a hot air balloon to watch a bunch of Butterfree, basically, and Ash is like, oh, Butterfree can fly around with them up in the air. And then there's a pink Butterfree. Just remember that for later. A pink Butterfree, who's the girl, and Ash's Butterfree does a little dance or whatever that Brock knows all about for mating, and then the pink Butterfree just slaps.
Well, yeah, it was the mating season of Butterfree, where a bunch of Butterfree trying to like find a mate and stuff. But a lot of the Butterfree then leave at that time too to go on their own. And so this is Ash's first Pokemon that he caught and evolved and everything. And so it's hard for him to say goodbye. But yeah, they do work real hard to try to get like, because yeah, his Butterfree takes a liking to the pink one, which I'm sure they made pink in the show just so we could like know where that Pokemon is.
Yeah, which one that was?
Because they also put a scarf on Ash's Butterfree so that we knew that that was his Butterfree.
Mm-hmm.
But they gave a story reason for it, right? Like it was to make him
Yeah.
look fancy and stuff to attract attention.
Mm-hmm.
Which was clever. I like that. And yeah, so there's this whole thing, and eventually Team Rocket gets involved, tries to catch all the Butterfree, and of course Ash's Butterfree saves them, which wins the heart of the pink Butterfree.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Ash has to say goodbye to his Butterfree. And there's some flashbacks of like when he caught it and it evolved and all that stuff. And it's a sad moment to say goodbye. And this is important-ish because Butterfree's learned some psychic moves and that would have been really helpful back at the Koga gym, but whatever. Psyduck got the star in that one.
Wait, is the Koga gym like the ninja one?
Yes, the poison gym. Part of the reason I want to bring this one up is like a lot of people have wondered why this Butterfree's pink, because in the anime, this was coming out when Red and Blue, there was no shiny Pokemon yet. They didn't exist. So then later on when shiny Pokemon did start to exist, they're like, oh, maybe it was a shiny Pokemon. But shiny Butterfrees aren't pink like this. That's not what they look like.
What color are they?
I mean, I think they have some pink hues on them, like on certain areas of them, but they do not look all pink like this one did. All right?
I forgot what it looked like.
Now, I think we can explain this pink Butterfree, whether the show ever intended this or not, probably not. We can explain this pink Butterfree by this next episode, which is called In the Pink. Because it's an island full of pink Pokemon. And they're pink because they eat pinkenberries, which only grow on that island. Which means the Butterfree probably came from that island.
Pikachu hit one of the berries and his tail was turning pink, and it's just like, Pikachu, your tail! And Officer Jenny says that it's fine because only if they eat pink berries a lot.
Right, and that's just it. Like, so like he eats some, but then he's gonna eventually turn to his regular color, and so then you would think, well, the Butterfree wasn't on that island anymore, so maybe that doesn't explain it because he should have reverted, or she should have reverted back.
No,
right?
they stay permanent pink.
But they state that they permanently stay pink if they eat tons of pinkenberries. Exactly.
I think in the Bye Bye Butterfree, they might have been like, well, let's just put the pink Butterfree. And then this one, they're like, let's explain that.
I don't even think they were thinking about it. Honestly, I don't think they thought about it at all. They don't think a lot of things through with this show sometimes. Especially with all the type advantage mess-ups. It's so annoying. Anyway.
Especially with the fighting.
It's just a funny show.
Yeah, I think.
Oh yeah, the fighting type Geodude.
And then I got
Yeah.
fighting type Geodude.
With the pink and in the pink, I think with like if they eat pinkenberries since like they were hatched all like until like adulthood, then they would stay permanent pink.
I don't think that's it. It's just if you eat enough of it on a regular basis, which most of the Pokemon there do.
Pikachu could have eaten enough for the day and probably would have turned pink at the end of the next day. Or turned back to normal at the end of the next day. It would have been fun to see a completely pink Pikachu.
That would have been fun.
I was hoping he would eat more, but...
Sure.
But Ash probably was like, no more Pinkenberries for you.
Now we'll get into the episode proper. Episode 8, I believe, of the Orange Islands in the pink. So, after, I think this is probably where they had the discussion about Togepi's not knowing any moves. It does seem more likely it would be in this episode. Based
Which
off
you'll
of what
find out at
happens.
the end.
Yeah. But Ash and them get caught in a whirlpool after that while riding on Lapras. And,
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
yep, and end up washed up next to an island with sheer cliffs. So they climb up, and up on top they find the pink Rhyhorn. Tracy goes to get a closer look and is making sure to stay downwind and moving slowly. And this all actually reminds me a lot of Pokemon Legends Arceus. Like
Sounds
hiding
a
in the
lot
grass
like
and stuff.
hunting.
Yes, it is a lot like hunting.
Especially here, you guys stay with the wind.
Right.
Doesn't blow towards them.
But then Ash is like, Psh, I can go up there. And so he just blunders right on up and ends up ticking the Rhyhorn off. So then the Rhyhorn charges after them and they
Charges
all...
off a cliff.
and runs after them all. Well, they're all by the edge of the cliff, and it's going to knock them all down. And then all of a sudden, they teleport away from the cliff, and so the Rhyhorn runs right off the cliff and falls.
Wait, does she use her power twice?
Wait,
In this episode, yes.
We see Togepi going.
Yes, Togepi was waving its arms again like it did in Pikachu Revolts.
And Misty starts to get a
Yeah,
little
she starts to be
suspicious.
like, was Togepi doing something right beforehand? So she's getting suspicious.
But she's not like, Togepi.
Yep.
She's like, oh, maybe.
So then they're like, oh, that poor Rhyhorn, so they want to try to save it. And then Officer Jenny shows up and is like, hey, you guys aren't even supposed to be on this island. Nobody's supposed to be here, except for, like, Officer Jenny. And they're like, well, we didn't try to be here. We got, whirlpool, blah, 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 blah. So then they work together to get Rhyhorn back up. And then Rhyhorn's nice to Officer Jenny. Like, well, why is the Rhyhorn nice to you? But it's like, well, it knows me.
She explains the Pinkenberries.
Yeah, so she talks about how it's off limits to visitors, and that the Pokemon there enjoy a diet of Pinkenberries that only grow there, and then that's where she explains that if you eat enough, it's a permanent pink Pokemon. And then also Team Rocket also got thrown next to the island by a whirlpool while using their Magikarp sub. And then Jigglypuff shows up on their sub, and they panic because everybody knows what Jigglypuff does at this point, and so they're like, Jigglypuff! They also mentioned that it's a pink Jigglypuff, and they're like, oh wait, Jigglypuff's always pink. Because they were spying on the island a little bit, and they saw the pink Pokemon on the
I
island.
like how they're like, Jigglypuff is pink too!
Wait, would Jigglypuff be a darker pink? Because it almost looks like a lighter pink, and then the other
Yeah.
Pokemon look darker pink.
Probably.
Probably.
Alright, pink and berry.
Because they also make a joke later on, too, when the Lickitung comes out, and they're like, that's a pink James is like, it's a pink Lickitung! So he didn't learn very fast. The rest of them are like, of course it's a pink Lickitung.
Jesse
So it's-
probably smacks him.
Yep. But then, I don't remember everything. Like, there's not a whole lot that's going on this island, but basically, Team Rocket tries to capture some of these pink Pokemon.
Yeah.
And they end up getting, they upset like a Rhydon?
The little Pokemon of the Ride King or whatever, they upset
Oh,
the
yeah,
little ones, and
that's
then they
right.
run into a cave, and the big daddy comes out.
Well, so, like, Rhyhorn was the one that they accidentally caused to fall off a cliff. Rhyhorn.
Yeah.
The base form. And then they find baby Rhyhorn. Yeah?
What? No, they find Nidoran.
Yeah,
Oh,
Nidoran.
Nidoran!
Nidoking, that's what it is.
And then they upset a Nidoking.
No, they don't upset the Nidoking.
Well, they upset the babies, and so the Nidoking comes out, right?
They go run into the cave, and the Nidoking, the big daddy's like, what?
That's right. I
That's
forgot there
hilarious.
was a Nido that they ended up messing with. I was thinking it was like Rhydon, because that also stands up kind of like Nidoking and Nidoqueen. But you're right. So then they're all being chased by that, and so I think they get knocked right off, right? They get blasted off
Oh,
by
yeah.
the Nidoking, and so then that's the end of
But
Team Rocket.
Nidoking's still
But
chasing
Team
them.
Rocket caused the problem, so now Jenny and them are trying to handle the Nidoking, who's upset, and she's driving around the Jeep, and it's chasing them, and they get cornered,
Togepi.
and then all of a sudden Togepi does a little arm wave and creates a shield barrier thing to protect them.
And teleports them.
Does it teleport them?
Nope, no teleporting.
No, that was the first time.
I know. I thought she teleported
No,
them
this time I
again.
think it was just the barrier. And then, like, the rest of the gang ends up off the Jeep, and Jenny goes and lassos the Nidoking by driving around in circles with the rope and
Yeah.
stuff.
And then Misty's like, guys, I know this might sound crazy, but I think Togepi did that, and they're like, nah.
Yeah, but she's starting to get onto it. She's like, I think Togepi can do some stuff.
Yep.
So that's cool. And that's pretty much the end of that episode. Not too much going on there. Just some interesting stuff with the pink stuff, and we learned more about Togepi doing moves.
And they're saying if people find this pink island, they're going to take the Pokemon and do this, and then it shows
That's
the
right.
I mean, it's
little
true.
thing. And a magician have a ditto pink in a cage, and is like, ta-da!
Oh, that's right. That's when Jenny's
And the
like really
Ditto's like-
explaining like why they don't let people onto
And
this
the
island.
ditto is like, oh, I'm stuck in a cage.
Yeah, that's what helped fill up the episode a little bit. I couldn't remember exactly what they were all talking about later on in between Team Rocket showing up and all that. But yeah, that's right. So then we get the last episode. We'll cover this episode of Routes, and that is episode 9, Shell Shock.
Shell shock.
So the gang show up on an island that has a more of a like a archaeologist Joy instead of Nurse Joy. She seems like,
Oh, yeah.
and she's with a whole team of archaeologists, and there's reporters there with their video camera, as they're exploring the island because they found a Kabuto fossil, and so they're looking for more.
Also,
Yeah, well, it's
with
the
air
fossil type Pokemon.
quotations.
And while they're exploring the island, trying to find more and talking about it, because Ash and them, of course, are joining in, they keep getting almost smashed by some boulders rolling and all that stuff, and eventually they discover it's some old angry dude pushing these boulders around, trying to scare them. He's not trying to hurt them, he's trying to scare them off the island.
Yeah, but he's gonna hurt them.
Somehow, I did not see him any time when he was
That's
pushing
right.
the boulders, and I'm
I
like,
forgot about that.
how do the boulders keep falling? And you're like, what do you mean?
Did you not see the shadowy figure?
I did not!
But yeah, so then he's yelling at the camera and stuff and warning them, and he talks about there's a prophecy that when the scavengers come to the island, and then the moon will be like red. And,
The
He was
red-
like,
blood moon.
I'll tell you all about it, and takes the microphone away from the reporter, and she's like, hey!
yeah.
That's my job.
So he's trying to get them off the island and warn them that they're going to destroy everything. Because if they don't, because when that all happens, with the blood moon and everything, then like bad things will happen. Like it'll be the end of the island or the world or something. I don't remember. What
Just
it
the
was.
end of the island.
Well, it turns out to be the end of the island. I don't remember what he said though.
The island will get swallowed by the sea.
That's right, swallowed by the sea. And so then another of the archaeologists like, hey, we actually discovered a lot more of the fossils. So then they go with them.
Well, they discover one more. They go in there, and then they start
right, it's
to
a
figure.
cave full
They
of
start
And then
to
the
figure
guy,
that
what's
out.
his name? The guy that replaced Bra?
Tracy.
Tracy's like, oh, and here's another one. Oh, that's a really nice one. And here's another one.
Yeah,
Here's
so
another
they
one.
see all these fossils, but then when they like pluck them up, they're so lifelike almost or whatever. And then Team Rocket shows up, blowing holes in the top of the cave.
Just one hole.
Okay, a hole where the blood moon can be
It
seen. Then
matters a lot. I'm kidding. It doesn't matter at all.
anyway,
Yeah, Nurse Joy takes out one, and it shows us the bottom of it.
Archaeologist Joy.
And then it shows us the little arms curled up, and I'm like, those are not fossils.
Right. And so then with the light shining through and everything, and then the Kabuto start to wake up. So it seems like the moon is what wakes them up.
Yep.
They eat the camera.
The red moon.
Well, yeah, she drops the camera and they run out. She's like, the camera! The reporter lady, but they're not going back for it because a flood of Kabuto are just like going all across the island.
And the island starts to shake and falling.
Yep, and so then they all... I don't even remember what happened to Team Rocket. I'm sure they blasted off at some point.
Oh,
but,
they went
or did they sink?
really quick.
Yeah, they weren't there very long. They are
like,
always there to like... Sometimes they live longer, but mainly their mission in the show is to cause a problem that everybody else ends up having to deal with.
They're like, there's a problem here now, thou. Just don't forget.
Yeah, I think like they showed up, blasted a hole, blah blah, and then like they got scared.
Said their motto and everything.
Yeah, they got scared after all the.
But anyway, everybody ends up on like a big old raft because they have to build a raft quick because that was part of the prophecy too, or
And they have
something.
Lapras
Pull the
dragon.
raft. Yeah, that's right. Lapras pulls the raft along
With
with like
Staryu,
because Starmie's not here, and Goldie.
Yes.
I don't think it's Goldie.
It doesn't matter that
Anyway.
much.
But anyway, they pull the map, and then the island's gone, and the Kabuto are out there, and they're like, those that survive, so the reporter people and everything, they're like, we will never tell anybody about the Kabuto here to protect them and stuff. But this is a story that...
And the Kabuto starts swimming off because the island was all made out of Kabuto.
Well, the island built up around the Kabuto.
Yes.
And they were all just like sleeping.
Yeah.
And then they wake up.
So it wasn't made of just Kabuto, but it was built up around them.
The dirt formed in between the caboose.
Yeah. And then that was that.
That episode reminded me a lot of Indiana Jones.
Which Indiana Jones?
The one with Mummy.
Oh, the
Mummy.
Because you were thinking of the scarabs.
Yeah, that climbed into their bodies and like one guy ate them or something. Like he let them climb into his body, and then like when they reached his mouth, he just started chewing them. It's really weird.
It was probably the mummy.
I don't think it was the mummy.
I think it was the mummy.
It was the mummy.
I think it was the mummy that just didn't care that they were crawling in him because he's the mummy. He's dead already.
The one guy was like, "Oh, gold and stuff," and then was putting it in the bag, and then he drops one, and then he thinks it's climbing in his clothes, and then he rips off his shirt, and it's like in him, and he's like, "Ah!"
Yep.
And then it reaches his head, and he goes insane.
All right, enough mummy talk. So, what did you think of this group of episodes?
I liked it.
Out of, go ahead.
I was just saying, I like it.
9.5 out of 10.
Oh, that's a high rating. Out of the Orange Island episodes, so not the ones that we recapped, like the Maiden Peak or whatever, or the Bye Bye Free. Which do you think was your favorite one?
Well, I really liked the gym, and the pink Pokemon was kind of cool too. The gym might have been my favorite.
Okay.
Kabuto.
The Kabuto was your favorite one?
It's really hard to choose a favorite.
What was the pink episode called?
In the Pink?
In the Pink, yeah, that's probably my favorite.
I think Pikachu Revolts is mine.
Well, I haven't watched that one. Otherwise, it probably would be mine.
Sure,
I didn't see
sure.
the full
Oh
Kabuto,
yeah,
but
that
I
one
still
was in
liked
these.
it.
Yeah, I really like
completely
Pikachu
forgot about
Revolts.
that.
I thought that was
I'll
a really
just say
cool
those
episode.
two are my top two.
All right. Well, that's cool. And what do you think of Tracy as a replacement for Brock?
I like him.
He's not Brock, but he's still kind of fun.
He's fine.
I don't really like Tracy that much. He's not like annoying or anything, but he's
Like
just
every time he sees a girl, he's like,
bland.
"I will help you in any."
Yeah.
5.5 out of 10.
And I miss Brock. I liked Brock, and we had a relationship with Brock.
Bland. That's
Yeah, bland.
Exactly.
He's bland. Have you guys warmed up to the theme song yet at all?
No.
I forgot.
I
the
really like the theme song.
You do like the new theme
Yeah.
song?
I forgot the theme song.
So you want to be a master of Pokemon? Do you have what it takes to be number one?
No.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like, I think it's Pokemon World. We all
Because I
live
am number one
in
in
a
Sword and
Pokemon
Shield.
world.
Me and Daddy are
You don't
number
like it
one
at
in
all.
Sword and Shield.
I mean, it's fine.
But you're still upset that the original theme's gone.
Yes.
I didn't really like the original thing.
What?
He's not ever going to
Okay,
be on
so-
these episodes again.
This is a short career for Flame on this podcast. You will not see him ever again or hear his voice again. Because apparently he does not like the theme song that everybody knows and loves.
I don't like it, that's all. I don't like it.
I loved it.
How do you not like that theme song?
Yeah.
Be the very best. Like no
one
Never was.
I have definitely learned to enjoy the new theme song. I do like it. It's not the original.
From what I
obviously, but
know,
do enjoy it.
I like it.
Why do you have to get rid of Brock in the original theme song?
Well, spoilers alert. Brock will
comes
come back.
Yay!
He just won't be during the Orange Islands. I don't think.
I know he comes back.
Okay.
But we've definitely seen him show up in other things before. So.
All right.
I do know that he travels with him for a while again. Eventually, though, more spoilers. You want some more spoilers?
Yes.
Both Brock and Misty will not be following Ash. We will end up with different companions in different seasons.
I know.
I mean, you've seen enough of Pokemon Journeys where he's just hanging out with Go all the time. It's Journeys. That's Journeys, right?
But that's Journeys. I like.
Well, that's part of the same series. So eventually we will lose Brock and Misty for quite some time. I think they might have appearances here and there, but they will not be the companions.
Score. Don't worry, we get another girl at one point.
Oh, there's definitely other girls.
Isn't Go's sister one of the girls?
Or friend or something.
Go's friend.
Oh, the Eevee one?
She has
Yeah,
a
She's
Evie
not
lady.
really a part of
She's
the
not-
group.
Well,
She is.
those episodes are weird anyway because the Journeys one, it's not like a continual journey either, right? Like they have like they keep coming back to the same place and then going out.
Yeah.
So it's very different than what we have anyway. Yeah, what's her name again? I can't remember.
Me neither. That's why I said Ghost Sister.
I just know she has an Eevee, which makes her my favorite.
And
even
Eevee
though I
did
haven't
not
watched, like, hardly
evolve,
any of
and
these.
they were experimenting with Eevee and all that. But
They were trying to figure out why Eevee wouldn't evolve. Like she would,
Yeah,
Eevee would kept touching
Okay,
stones,
now you're
but
spoiling
not
things
evolve.
for me. Shh. Anyway, we will move on to our final segment for the episode.
What?
All right, go ahead and sniff your cards, everyone, because they always smell so nice.
I'm gonna stick it right here.
All right, so let's see. I opened a Paradox Rift,
I opened a Paradox Rift.
and I think Ruby and
Paldean evolved.
Rosella have Paldea
Yeah.
evolved. Paldea, something like that. Anyway, all right. So, who would like to start us off? With
Me.
that?
Me.
All right. Oh, yeah, we'll go with Flame this week, and then Rosella, and then Ruby, and then me.
I have a Double.
What? Oh, Dwebble.
Dwebble, sorry.
Oh, okay.
I got a Dwebble, a Whismer, Double Blade, which evolves from Honage,
Ooh.
Surskit,
Ooh, that one.
Veluza.
It has an ability. What's the ability?
Oh, it has ability. Fillet Memento.
Let me see that.
Memento.
Oh, Veluza. Okay.
Someone can't.
Filet Memento.
Flame.
Filet.
Filet memento.
If this Pokemon is in the active spot and is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, move up to 2 water energy cards from this Pokemon to one of your benched Pokemon.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Technical Machine. Blind
TM.
Slade. Oh! That's what
That's what the TM stand for in
Oh,
the games. Yeah.
Blind Slade.
The ones that teach them new moves.
I thought that was.
Are
HM.
you serious?
Oh,
No.
never-
The HM is the hidden machines, which teach them like the big moves, like Surf and everything.
Yeah.
What does it do?
Blind Slade. This attack does 100 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon that has any damage counters on it. Don't apply weakness and resistance for benched Pokemon.
That's cool.
I had no idea you Pokemon cards could learn new attacks. Crocolar evolves from Fuecoco.
Oh, Crocolar.
Crocolar.
I think I have him. Except in a different
Vanillisha.
Oh, Vanillish?
Yeah, evolves from Vanillite.
It's
Vanillite.
Vanilla.
That's the ice cream.
Another
Shiny.
Surskit. A shiny skit. A shiny Surskit.
That's
Well, like it's a pretty
like,
card.
Oh, like a pretty
I want
card.
the
Oh, tinfoil card. Groudon.
fighting.
Fighting
Even
Groudon.
though he sounds like a ground type. Groudon.
Well, he probably is. But
And
there's no ground.
basic fighting energy.
Nice. Can I
My
see
turn?
Groudon quick?
My turn?
That must be your rear guard. Oh, that's cool.
Can I look at my card?
Go ahead, Rosella.
One of the cards.
Okay. My first is a Paldean Wooper.
Ooh, I just got a bunch of those in Pokemon Go because
A
it was the
Pikachu!
community day.
Cute fact. Crokung.
Oh, Krogunk, yeah.
Calamus Snowy Mountain. Whenever any player attaches an energy card from their hand to one of their basic non-water Pokemon, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon.
I'm lucky.
So it's a stadium?
Yeah.
I'm lucky.
Corvisquire.
You have a special connection to Corvisquire, don't you? Why is that?
I like, well, in Sword and Shield, I was just catching basic Pokemon because I needed more Pokemon for the game. I go up to a Rookidee, and apparently it's shiny. So I evolved that, and then evolved that into my shiny Corviknight.
Yeah, so that was really early in the game too, wasn't it? And how many shinies have we gotten in Sword and Shield?
Like 1.
1. You are the only one with a shiny.
I'm so lucky.
You were
Now I
super-
need a Rookidee and then a Corviknight. Because I have my V Corviknight, but I need more Corviknight.
Sure.
I think Daddy has Corviknight.
Flamigo!
Oh, Flamigo.
I like Flamigo.
I do too.
Because they're
Amigo.
flamingos. Ability Instant Flock. When you play this Pokemon from your hand into your bench, during your turn you may search your deck for up to 3 Flamigo, reveal them and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So you could just get a bunch of these exact Flamigo.
Yep.
Was
And
that your
then-
pretty card? No. Okay. Oh,
Ooh.
that one's your pretty card. Brambleghast?
No, it must be a
Tinfoil.
ghost type or something.
It's grass.
Yeah, but it's probably a grass ghost.
I like
Yeah,
grass
'cause the
and
gas
fire,
part.
but mainly fire.
Brambleghast. Evolves from Bramblin. Oh, that's cool. I don't know this Pokemon.
Sprigatito!
Sprigatito!
Oh, and it's also pretty good.
So,
And
proper.
slacking
Oh.
Evolves from Slackoth, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
evolves from Vigoroth.
Oh, Vigoroth.
What?
Which evolves from Slacking. Slacking, Vigoroth,
Ability.
Hmm?
Stare
Slackoth.
and
Yeah, Slackoth
snooze.
to Vigoroth to Slacking.
It sounded like slacking. You said it
Okay.
twice.
Ability. Stir and snooze. If this Pokemon is asleep, flip 2 coins instead of 1 during Pokemon checkup. If either of them is tails, this Pokemon is still asleep. A basic grass energy, and that's all.
Nice, nice.
I got the Sprigatito.
Alright, Ruby, what do you get?
I have a Tinkatink. It's a psychic Pokemon. It has brutal swing. Flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 20 more damage. It originally does 10.
Tink Tink.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Tink Tink Tink. Yeah, I don't know that Pokemon either.
Oh, pink urchin, like an urchin.
Yep.
Electric Pokemon. Then I've got Makuta, fighting type.
Makuhita.
Yes, that's it. A fancy art, or not fancy art necessarily, but a Magikarp that I don't have yet.
Oh, cool.
Magic.
It's pretty pathetic.
Carp.
Magikarp.
Garp.
Oh, a Vigoroth.
Oh.
From Slackoth.
But you have Slacking, she has Vigoroth. Now you just need Slackoff.
You should get Slacker.
Oh, another pink urchin. Pink urchin. Oh, Crocolar.
Oh,
Just like-
Crocolar. Yep.
Yeah. Like his.
Fuecoco's evolution.
Oh, yeah.
Delibird, water type. It's kind of pretty in this one.
Oh, yeah, Delibird. That's the Santa Pokemon.
And,
Oh.
in Sword and Shield, it throws a present, and it says it's either good or bad or just
Yep.
a present,
Clement.
basically.
Fighting type. I've got Clement. Arthworm. It has an ability, nutritional iron. If this Pokemon has 3 or more metal energies attached, it gets plus 100 HP.
Whoa.
And it already has 130. It's a basic type. It also has Shoot Through, which has 4 energies, does 100 damage. This attack also does 30 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon.
Nice, let me see it.
Yeah, it's my rare one.
Sounds
It's got
like
pretty edge.
that's
that's
nice.
cool.
Then, fighting.
When
energy.
attacked, this Pokemon will wield the tendrils on its body like fists and pelt the opponent with a storm of punches.
Yeah, these are my 3.
Yeah, I like this one. It's cool.
Alright, is that it?
Yeah.
Alright.
Go ahead.
Let's see what I
You
got.
should get this slacking.
Slack
Alright,
off.
I have Yamask,
Let me.
Ooh.
Oh, I know
your
your
mask.
mask.
Spinda. Ability, Tangled Feet. If this Pokemon is confused and is damaged by an attack, flip a coin. If heads, prevent that damage. Oh, and its move is Teetering Steps, which does 100, and it does 100 damage and then confuses this Pokemon. So it confuses itself, which can protect it from damage. I should read some of these too. Yamask. The spirit of a person from a bygone age became this Pokemon. It rambles through ruins searching for someone who knows its face. And Spinda. Each Spinda's spot pattern is different. With its stumbling movements, it evades opponents' attacks brilliantly.
Oh, it looks like it's from like the same family almost as Tinkatink.
I also got a Tinkatink. This Pokemon pounds iron scraps together to make a hammer. It will remake the hammer again and again until it is satisfied with the result.
My Tinkatink has a different thing.
Is it the same picture?
Oh no, it's different.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
read
Oh yeah,
yours.
yours is holding that thing up. Mine's like dragging it along.
Read yours.
Do you want me to read
Sure.
mine? It says, my Tinkatink says, it swings its handmade hammer around to protect itself, but the hammer is often stolen by Pokemon that eat metal. Poor little Tinkatink.
Tandemouse. The pair sticks together no matter what. They split any food they find exactly in half and then eat it together.
Oh, yeah.
The two mice together are one Pokemon.
That
That's
is
weird.
adorable.
Are they like connected by their tail or
Oh,
something?
weird.
What?
Alright, I got Minior. I don't even know what Minior is. Ability, Far Flying Meteor. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is on your bench, when you attach an energy card from your hand to this Pokemon, you may switch it with your active Pokemon. This is its form when its shell has fallen off. The color of its core depends on the materials that made up the food it ate. Minior.
Ooh.
And then the next card in my pack is Minior. The exact same card. Alright. Then Dodonzo.
Metal type.
Water type.
Ah.
This Pokemon is a glutton, but it's bad at getting food. It teams up with Tatsugiri to catch prey.
Who's Tatsukuri?
I don't know what Tatsugiri is.
Oh, Dondozo! I have one of those. But not the same art, so
Fishy.
I want that one.
Dottler evolves from Blipbug.
Grass?
It is grass. As it grows inside its shell, it uses its psychic abilities to monitor the outside world and prepare for evolution.
I know him.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What?
Gimme Ghoul.
Huh?
Gimme
Oh, that's a normal type, right?
Psychic.
Oh.
Because it's a ghost. It's a ghost Pokemon.
Oh, Gimmeagle's a ghost?
I think so. I think it's a ghost Pokemon.
Well, a ghoul, so.
Right, Ghoul. Gimme Ghoul. Oh yeah, and it has a creepy story to go with it. Anyway, whatever.
Oh, yeah, and it can haunt different things, because in Scarlet and Violet we have chests.
This Pokemon was born inside a treasure chest about 1,500 years ago. It sucks the life force out of scoundrels who try to steal the treasure. The little ones that you find in Scarlet and Violet, like they're hiding around in like on a rock or under the bridge and stuff like that. Remember?
But there's also the chest.
And they always
ones.
have like a little tink noise when you get them. Tink.
But there's also the chest.
Yeah, because when you find them, you don't actually capture them. You're just getting coins. Give me cool coins. Because you need a bunch of coins to evolve it. I was already pretty sure that was going to be the case, but now I have Gimme Ghoul in Pokemon Go because of the postcards you can send to you can send postcards to Scarlet and Violet if you have a save there, and so it gave me an item in Pokemon Go which I can use to then capture some Gimme Ghoul.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is cool
What are the Gimme Ghoul coins used for?
to evolve.
To evolve them.
You need like 999 or 1,000 or something.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Xatu evolves from Natu. Clairvoyant Sense. Once during your turn, you may attach a basic psychic energy card from your hand to one of your benched Pokemon. If you attached energy to a Pokemon in this way, draw 2 cards.
So it's a psychic type? Oh, I knew Xatu.
Yep.
Have you gotten your rare yet?
That
This is my
rare.
Oh, okay.
I was more excited about the Gimme Ghoul, to be honest. Just because
Yeah.
I think he's a cool new Pokemon. Even though it's common.
I'm more excited.
And I got basic lightning energy. Alright. And that, I believe, is our episode. So thank you so much for listening. And as always, you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. Please leave a comment, like, subscribe, rate us, review us, all that jazz. And if you ever want to get in touch with us, you can send an email to hunterfieldmanor@gmail.com and just put routes through Pokemon in the subject heading. And next week we will be going through Manga Volume 5, Chapters 53 through 59, which is about the first half of the book. And then we will be going through 5 anime episodes, one of them being a band episode. We'll have Stage Fight, which is the band episode. And then we have Bye Bye Psyduck, which we should have covered that. We should have left Bye Bye Butterfree for Bye Bye Psyduck, so we could have done them back to back.
No, we had to do the pink ones back to back.
Yeah, I agree. So then we'll have Bye Bye Psyduck, and we'll have The Joy of Pokemon, Naval Maneuvers, which will give us a second gym battle for the Orange Islands, and Snack Attack, which I'm pretty sure features some Snorlax action. Alright, so we'll...
I mean, that would make sense.
Right. So we'll see you next week. Thanks for listening.
Bye!
Chapter 6. A Battle with Perez. After the Golbat and Zubats left, Midori and Violet gathered their stuff and started back on the path that would hopefully take them out the opposite side of Mount Moon. They walked in silence for a few minutes, attempting to process all that just happened, Midori often looking at the Pokeball that now housed the little Zubat.
That was pretty crazy with the Zubats picking me up and everything. I guess that little Zubat did say thank you after all.
I'd say. I can hardly believe any of that even happened. I keep checking the Pokeball just to prove that it did.
And who were those two jerks?
Midori stopped a moment. He had forgotten all about the idiots that had rushed off after Golbat swooped at them. 2 jerks? The ones with the R on their uniforms?
Yeah, them. I mean, they must be part of some gang or something, yeah?
Yeah, they are. They were members of Team Rocket.
Team Rocket? Weird name.
Midori smirked. Yeah, I guess it is. I know those 2 idiots stumbled all over themselves, but, well, the gang is pretty bad news in general. I've heard they are well organized. They see Pokemon as tools to be used for money and power. They don't seem to care who gets hurt. Violet looked over at her father, concerned.
Sounds like you've run into them before.
Yeah, you could say that. Midori looked troubled, and Violet was about to ask him more, but then Midori pointed ahead. Hey, look! There's a trainer over there. Good opportunity to get some practice in. Sure enough, they reached a larger area of the cave, and there was a kid, probably about 10 years old, battling a Paris. Squirtle, use Bubble! A Squirtle rushed by the Paris and sent a barrage of bubbles at the other Pokemon. It didn't seem to do much, and the Paris chased after the Squirtle and scratched at it. Midori leaned over to whisper to Violet. That was a mistake. You know how I mentioned the cave would be a good place to train your horsey?
Yeah?
Well, that's because your water Pokemon can take on Geodudes pretty easy, and Zubats and Clefairy are neutral. But that Pokemon there is a bit more of a challenge.
Because it's a grass-type Pokemon. Yeah, I know.
Midori looked at his daughter, incredulous.
What? You know I've been studying Pokemon for a while now.
Ah, yes. Well, I suppose you have. Violet could tell her dad was a little disappointed not to be able to pass on some knowledge in that moment, so she offered him an alternative target.
You know, it seems that he might have missed that fact, though. Maybe you could help him out?
Midori frowned in thought, then decided that maybe he could do that. Hey, kid, that Paris is resistant to water. You might want to try a different move, or a different Pokemon even. The kid looked back. Resistant to water? Bug isn't resistant to water. Yeah, that's true. But Paris is also grass. That seemed to get to the kid. He froze for a moment and then smacked his head. Right! Duh! Meanwhile, the Squirtle just had a blast of powder sprayed into its face. He swayed on his feet and then landed backward onto his shell and began to snooze away. Ah, not Stun Spore! Squirtle, return! The youngster held out his Pokeball, and a beam of light shot out and gathered the Squirtle just in the nick of time as Paris slashed a claw through the air. All right, you little bug. I'm gonna get you now. Pidgey, I choose you! With that, the bird Pokemon flew onto the scene. It weaved and dodged and blew sand into the face of the Paris before swooping in and quickly knocking the bug Pokemon around. Then, as it seemed to be getting tired, the boy threw a Pokeball at the Paris, and after a couple of pings, there was a click as the Pokeball sealed. Yes! The youngster jumped in the air. I caught myself a Paris! Way to go, kid, Midori said. Now, do you think you're up for a trainer battle? The kid looked up at Midori, and his face paled slightly. Against you? Midori grinned and then shook his head. No.
He means me.
Violet stepped forward with a determined expression, matched by the horsey that had returned to being perched on her shoulder. Oh, The kid rubbed the back of his neck. I don't know. My Pokemon are a little beat up. Violet raised an eyebrow.
What? Are you scared?
That worked. The boy immediately straightened his back and clenched his fist in front of him. Not at all! He grabbed one of his Pokeballs and got ready to release the Pokemon inside. I'm not going to hold back just because you're a girl, so you better be ready. Violet frowned at that. She didn't want him to hold back, but she didn't like that he felt the need to say that because it somehow implied that girls were just not as good at battling. Then she smirked a little, thinking he might need to change that attitude before making it to Cerulean City. Otherwise, he might get himself into hot water with Misty. Hey, why don't we make this a fair battle? Midori stepped in between the pair. You have any Pokemon not beat up, kid? No, they've all been battling through Mount Moon. All right, no problem. I have a few potions. We'll patch up one of your Pokemon, and then you can each use one Pokemon for the battle. Sound fair? The kid looked thoughtful and then nodded. Yeah, okay. Let's do it. When everything was settled, it was time for the match to begin. It was clear that Violet would be using Horsey, as it was all she had so far. But Violet wondered what the kid might have. It was likely he had some wild Pokemon already, seeing as he already carried at least a Pidgey and a Squirtle. Midori, having given the potions, knew exactly what Pokemon the kid would use. A part of him was relieved, but he was still a bit nervous for his daughter. Horsey had hardly any experience so far, so it could be a rough go. "All right, ready?" The youngster and Violet got into position and stared each other down, both brimming with confidence. "Then battle!" The youngster threw a Pokeball into the air and it popped open. "Go, Nido!" Appearing in the cave was a male Nidoran. Violet breathed a sigh of relief. She had hoped the kid wouldn't go with Paris, or some other grass Pokemon.
I choose you.
To be continued.